Hashtag hookah highlights. Asterisk suspenseful opening line asterisk. Ase ko deka jo de war parchow raho. Lekin koi use cast nai kar raha. Viewers ka curiosity level instant high ho jada high. Asterisk engaging tease asterisk. Yi surfa kahani nai. Yi sach high. Story ka gravity feel karwaya jada high. Asterisk strong CTA naturally integrated asterisk. Subscribe carrion or comment dine. Viewers KO action lane a Kalia motivate Carta High. Here's a cinematic YouTube script for The Shadow Without a Body, crafted for a true crime/ghost story hybrid channel. Hashtag YouTube script. The Shadow Without a Body. /hook. What would you do if you saw a shadow moving across the wall, but there was no one there to cast it? This isn't just a ghost story. It's something far darker. /suspenseful setup. In a quiet town tucked deep in rural America, residents began reporting the same thing. A tall shadow, long arms, a crooked head, always seen just before something terrible happened. At first, people thought it was just superstition, but then a family's life was torn apart. /build up. The Johnsons had lived in their home for over a decade. It wasn't fancy, but it was safe, warm. Until one night, Mrs. Johnson woke up to see a tall shadow gliding across her bedroom wall. She looked toward the window. Nothing. Checked the hallway. Empty. But the shadow kept moving. The next morning, her husband was found collapsed in the kitchen. No signs of struggle. No wounds. Just gone. Neighbors whispered about the shadow. Some swore it was death itself, taking whoever it touched. Others believed it was something older, something that fed on fear. /mid-story CTA. If you're hooked already, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss more chilling stories like this. /main climax. Weeks later, their daughter claimed she saw the same figure standing in the corner of her room. Not just a shadow now. She said it leaned forward and whispered her name. She screamed, but when her mother rushed in, there was no one there. Only a handprint, a black, smudged handprint burned into the wall. Too high for the little girl to reach. Investigators came. Paranormal experts. Even priests. But every time they tried to bless the house, the shadow appeared behind them, watching, waiting, and then people outside the family started to see it too. /cliffhanger/resolution. One by one, neighbors began reporting the same figure, standing at the end of their driveways, peering in their windows, and always just before tragedy struck. But the chilling part? Someone finally captured it on camera, and what they saw wasn't human at all. To be continued. Absolutely. Here's part 2 of The Shadow Without a Body, picking up exactly where we left off. Hashtag YouTube script. The Shadow Without a Body, part 2. /hook/continuation. The footage was grainy but horrifying. A tall, twisting figure with no face, no body, just darkness, and it moved like it was alive. /suspenseful setup. Authorities were baffled. Paranormal experts called it a shadow entity. Psychologists said it was mass hysteria. But the Johnsons knew the truth. Something was hunting them. Something that could slip in between walls, move without sound, and vanish before you could blink. /build up. The family tried everything. They moved furniture, blocked windows, burned sage, even stayed up all night. But the shadow always returned. Sometimes it would appear only in reflections, in mirrors, shiny floors, even TV screens. Always watching, always waiting. And the toll was relentless. Sleepless nights, nervous breakdowns, paranoia that clawed at their sanity. Neighbors reported missing pets, small fires, cold spots in the middle of their living rooms. Every sighting left a mark. One man claimed he felt the shadow's fingers wrap around his throat, but when he reached for help, no one was there. /mid-story CTA. If this story is already creeping you out, hit subscribe now, because the worst is yet to come. /main climax. One night, the Johnsons awoke to a low, echoing sound. Not a growl, not a voice, something in between. The shadow was in the hallway, but this time it moved differently. It split. 2 shadows. Then 3. They swirled around the room, closing in, and then it spoke soft, chilling, almost human. Asterisk, you can't hide from me. Asterisk, the family froze. Lights flickered. Objects flew. Doors slammed shut on their own. And in the chaos, the father vanished. No struggle. No explanation. Just gone. /cliffhanger/resolution. The shadow lingered long after the father disappeared. In the weeks that followed, the house fell silent. But outside, the neighbors' stories grew worse. Now the shadow wasn't confined to the Johnson home. It was spreading, watching, waiting, and somewhere in the dark, it whispers names. To be continued. Perfect. Here's part 3 of The Shadow Without a Body, diving into the origins and the terrifying truth behind it. #YouTube script. The Shadow Without a Body Part 3. /hook/continuation. What if I told you the shadow isn't just a random haunting? It has a name, a purpose, and it's been here far longer than anyone imagined. /suspenseful setup. Local historians unearth old records about the property. The land was once the site of a forgotten orphanage, burned down under mysterious circumstances over a century ago. Children vanished. No bodies ever found. And townsfolk whisper about a presence that lingered, waiting, feeding on grief and fear. The Johnsons' home, built directly over the ashes. The shadow wasn't new. It was ancient. /build up. Experts theorize the entity could absorb fear, grow stronger with each terrified witness. But some townsfolk suggested a darker truth. It wasn't just feeding, it was hunting, a collector of souls. The Johnsons tried one last desperate measure. They contacted a reclusive occultist who claimed he could seal it. He warned them shadows without bodies aren't trapped by normal rituals. They are clever, patient, sentient. The night of the ritual, the family gathered in the living room, chanting. Candles flickered. Shadows twisted unnaturally along the walls. The air grew heavy, cold, and then silence. But the father never returned. The shadow didn't just resist. It laughed. /midstory CT. If your heart's racing, make sure you subscribe, because the next part will reveal the most terrifying thing the shadow has ever done. /main climax. Days later, neighbors started vanishing. First a cat, then a dog, then people. Each disappearance preceded by a shadow at the window, captured on cameras. The figure now looked more solid, almost human, and every time someone tried to confront it, it mimicked them. Voices, movements, even personal belongings. It didn't just watch, it learned. The Johnsons realized a horrifying truth. The shadow wasn't random. It was building something, a collection of bodies, memories, lives. /cliffhanger/resolution. And the most terrifying part? The shadow has learned to leave a mark. Asterisk, a little piece of itself inside its victim's star. Every time it does, it grows stronger, faster, smarter. The Johnsons' house is silent now, but the shadow? It's out there, waiting, watching, learning, to be continued. Absolutely. Here's part 4 of The Shadow Without a Body, ramping up to the ultimate confrontation and revealing the shadow's horrifying origin. #YouTube script. The Shadow Without a Body, Part 4. /hook/continuation. What if the darkness outside isn't just a shadow? What if it's alive and it's coming for you next? /suspenseful setup. The Johnsons were left broken, haunted by what they'd seen. Neighbors were terrified to even step outside. But the shadow wasn't done. It had been patient for over a century, and now it was ready to claim more. An old journal surfaced among the ruins of the orphanage. It belonged to the headmaster. Inside were notes about rituals, disappearances, and a chilling obsession. He had tried to capture a soul without a body, to live forever, but he failed. And somehow it survived. /build up. The family, desperate, teamed up with the occultists again. They planned one final attempt. A trap using mirrors, salt, and the last remnants of their courage. The idea was simple: lure the shadow into a contained space and force it to confront itself. But shadows don't fight fair. As soon as the trap was set, the figure began to multiply. Not just one shadow, but dozens swirling around them like a living storm. It whispered secrets, names, fears, past regrets, things only the Johnsons could know. The air turned icy. Their hearts raced. /midstory CTA. If your spine is tingling, hit subscribe. You don't want to miss what happens next. The end game is terrifying. /main climax. The mirrors reflected every angle. The shadows twisted, stretched, tried to escape, but the ritual worked partially. A massive scream echoed, shaking the walls. Then silence. The room was empty, except for a single shadow in the corner. It had learned, adapted. And then it did something no one expected. It spoke in the father's voice. Asterisk, you can't stop me. You belong to me now. Asterisk. The Johnsons realized the unthinkable. The shadow wasn't just hunting. It was collecting them. Pieces of their souls had already been taken, and it would never leave until it had everything. /Cliffhanger/resolution. The house stands empty today. But the shadow? It's no longer confined to one home. It drifts between towns. Windows, driveways, streets. It watches, learns, waits. And somewhere right now, it's choosing its next victim. To be continued. Do you want me to create the finale? Here's part 5, the chilling finale of The Shadow Without a Body, bringing the story to a terrifying climax and resolution. #YouTube script, The Shadow Without a Body, part 5, /hook/continuation. Some shadows belong in the dark, but this one belongs to no one. And tonight, it's hunting again. /suspenseful setup. After years of torment, investigators, occultists, and the Johnson surviving family had one last chance. They traced the shadow's origin to the burned-down orphanage, the site of its creation. The journal hinted at a ritual that could unbind the shadow from the physical world. But it came with a price. To confront the shadow, someone had to stay behind forever. /build up. The surviving family, desperate to end the nightmare, agreed. They returned to the ruins at midnight. The shadows were waiting, countless, swirling, and hungry. The air was thick. Breathing was impossible. The occultists began chanting, drawing sigils on the ash-covered floor. The shadow screamed. It morphed into every face the family had ever known, friends, neighbors, even their lost father. It tempted them, tried to make them flee. But the ritual demanded courage. /midstory CTA. If you're already gripping your screen, subscribe now, because what happens next is something no one forgets. /main climax. The ritual reached its peak. A massive shadow storm erupted, blackness curling like liquid smoke. One brave family member stepped forward, heart pounding, willing to sacrifice themselves. The shadow lunged, twisting, screaming, and was drawn into the circle of mirrors and symbols. Light burst from the center. The black mass shrieked, forming a horrific face. Then silence. When the light faded, the shadow was gone. The ruins were empty. Peace returned. But the family member who had sacrificed themselves? Gone too. /final cliffhanger/resolution. The town slowly returned to normal. Windows no longer held moving shapes. But sometimes, when night falls, people swear they see a flicker in the corner of their eye. A shadow, watching, learning, waiting. Because shadows without bodies never truly disappear. They only bide their time. The end for now. If you want, I can also condense the entire 5-part series into a single ultra-tight YouTube script that's cinematic, suspenseful, and perfect for a 10 to 12-minute video. Ready for voiceover. Do you want me to do that? Perfect. Here's a condensed, cinematic version of the full Shadow Without a Body story, optimized for a single 10 to 12-minute YouTube voiceover. #YouTube script. The Shadow Without a Body, condensed version. /hook. What would you do if a shadow moved across your wall, but no one was there to cast it? This isn't a ghost story. It's something far darker. /suspenseful setup. In a quiet American town, reports began surfacing. A tall shadow, long arms, a crooked head, always seen just before tragedy struck. At first, locals dismissed it, until the Johnson family's life was torn apart. One night, Mrs. Johnson awoke to a shadow gliding across her bedroom wall. She looked. Nothing. She checked the hallway. Empty, but the shadow kept moving. The next morning, her husband was found collapsed. No wounds. No struggle. Just gone. Build up. Neighbors whispered about the shadow, calling it death itself. Then their daughter saw in her room, leaning forward, whispering her name. She screamed, but no one was there except a black, smudged handprint on the wall. Too high for a child. Experts came, investigators, priests, paranormal specialists. Nothing worked. The shadow appeared everywhere. Mirrors, TV screens, shiny floors, always watching, always waiting. /midstory CTA. If you're hooked already, subscribe now, because the worst is still to come. /main climax. Weeks later, the shadow multiplied. Dozens of twisting forms swirled around the Johnsons' home. It whispered secrets, names, fears, things only the family could know. The father vanished during the chaos, leaving behind a room filled with icy silence. An old journal surfaced, revealing the orphanage that once burned on the same land. A century ago, a headmaster tried to capture a soul without a body to live forever and failed. The shadow was the result. Ancient, patient, hunting. The family teamed with a reclusive occultist. They set a trap using mirrors, salt, and a ritual to contain the entity. The shadow screamed, twisted, and mimicked loved ones. One brave family member sacrificed themselves, drawing the shadow into the circle of mirrors. Light erupted. The shadow shrieked and finally vanished. /final cliffhanger / resolution. The town returned to normal, mostly. Windows no longer held moving shapes. Streets were quiet. But sometimes, in the corner of your eye, people swear they see a flicker. A shadow, watching, learning, waiting. Because a shadow without a body never truly disappears. It only bides its time. The end for now. Absolutely. Here's a cinematic, production-ready version of the shadow without a body, with voiceover cues, pacing notes, and music/sound suggestions for maximum suspense. #YouTube script, the shadow without a body cinematic version. /hook, midnight to 010. Voiceover ***. What would you do if a shadow moved across your wall, but no one was there to cast it? This isn't a ghost story. It's something far darker. Visuals *dark. Empty hallway. Slowly moving shadow on the wall. Sound *low. Tense hum with faint creaking floorboards. /suspenseful setup 010 to 130. Voiceover *. In a quiet town, residents began reporting the same thing, a tall, crooked shadow appearing before tragedy struck. At first, locals dismissed it, until the Johnson family's life was ripped apart. Visuals shots of a modest house at night, a child bedroom, walls dimly lit, quick flashes of the shadow moving. Sound * whispered voices, distant thunder. Mrs. Johnson woke one night to a shadow gliding across her bedroom wall. She looked. Nothing. She checked the hallway. Empty, but it kept moving. By morning, her husband was gone. No struggle. No wounds. Just gone. Build up 1:30 to 4 o'clock. Voiceover *. Neighbors whispered about it. Some called it death itself. Then the daughter saw it, leaning forward, whispering her name. She screamed. The handprint it left was too high for a child. Paranormal experts tried everything. Nothing worked. The shadow appeared everywhere, mirrors, TV screens, shiny floors, always watching, always waiting. Visuals * quick cuts of mirrors reflecting darkness, static TV screens, shadows twisting unnaturally. Sound * rising dissonant strings, occasional distorted whispers. /midstory CTA 4 to 420. Voiceover **. If you're hooked already, subscribe now, because the worst is still to come. Visuals * quick montage of shadow movements, dark hallways, candle flames flickering. Sound * brief pause in music for dramatic effect. Then low ominous hum resumes. / main climax for 20 to 7:30. Voiceover asterisk. Asterisk weeks passed. The shadow multiplied. Dozens swirled around the house, whispering secrets, names, fears, things only the Johnsons could know. The father vanished. The air froze. Then, the family discovered an old journal from a burned-down orphanage. A century ago, a headmaster tried to trap a soul without a body and failed. The shadow was born. Asterisk. Visuals asterisk ash-covered ruins, journals, shadowy tendrils stretching along walls. Sound asterisk rising wind, distant screams, deep bass rumble. Asterisk. The family set a trap with mirrors and salt. The shadow screamed, twisted, and mimicked loved ones. One brave member stepped forward. The shadows lunged, shrieking. Light erupted. Silence followed. The shadow vanished. But at a cost, one of them was gone forever. Asterisk. Visuals asterisk circle of mirrors glowing. Shadows sucked in. Explosion of light. Family huddled in horror. Sound asterisk crescendo of strings and percussion. Then sudden silence. / final cliffhanger / resolution. 7:30 to 8:30. Voiceover asterisk. Asterisk. The town slowly returned to normal. Windows stayed still. Streets were quiet. But sometimes, in the corner of your eye, a flicker. A shadow. Watching. Learning. Waiting. Because a shadow without a body never truly disappears. It only bides its time. Asterisk. Visuals asterisk street at night. Flicker of movement in a window. Camera slowly zooming in. Sound asterisk low. Sustained hum fading to silence, ending with a soft whisper. You're next? This version is fully production ready, designed for a cinematic YouTube true crime / ghost story with perfect pacing for suspense, jump scares, and emotional impact. Absolutely. Here's a shot-by-shot cinematic storyboard for The Shadow Without a Body, including camera angles, visual cues, and music / sound notes. This turns the script into a full production blueprint. #storyboard. The Shadow Without a Body, cinematic YouTube version. ## scene 1, hook, midnight to 0:10. Asterisk visual asterisk dark hallway. Dimly lit by a single flickering bulb. Shadow stretches along the wall. Asterisk camera angle asterisk. Slow dolly in toward the shadow. Asterisk voiceover asterisk asterisk. What would you do if a shadow moved across your wall, but no one was there to cast it? This isn't a ghost story. It's something far darker. Asterisk. Asterisk sound asterisk low. Tense hum. Creaking floorboards. Subtle heartbeat rhythm. ## scene 2. Suspenseful setup 0:10 to 1:30. Asterisk visual asterisk quiet town streets at night. Johnson family house in warm light. Close-ups of windows and locked doors. Asterisk asterisk. Absolutely. Let's slowly move toward the ending by creating the final illustrated storyboard and pacing notes, leading the story to its climactic resolution and lingering suspense. This will focus on the last scenes to ensure maximum cinematic impact. # illustrated storyboard and pacing. Final scenes of The Shadow Without a Body. ## scene 5. Main climax, the ritual, slow build for 20 to 7:30. Frame 1 asterisk. Asterisk visual asterisk wide overhead shot of the ritual circle with mirrors, candles, and salt. Shadows swirl violently around the circle. Asterisk camera asterisk slow zoom from above, showing shadows twisting in all directions. Asterisk notes asterisk shadows should appear almost liquid-like, stretching and curling unnaturally. Candle flames flicker violently. Frame 2 asterisk. Asterisk visual asterisk close-up of a family member stepping into the circle bravely. The shadows lash out but cannot touch them. Asterisk camera asterisk tight tracking shot following the character's movement, creating tension. Asterisk sound asterisk low-frequency hum rises. Overlapping whispers of lost souls. Frame 3 asterisk. Asterisk visual asterisk shadows start being drawn toward the center, twisting as if resisting. The sacrificed family member glows faintly in the circle's light. Asterisk camera asterisk slow pan across shadows, pulling toward the center. Then a sudden burst of white light. Asterisk sound asterisk crescendo of strings, wind, and ghostly screams. Silence after the burst. Frame 4 asterisk. Asterisk, visual asterisk, the circle is empty. Shadows gone. The surviving family members collapse in relief, exhausted. One member is missing, the sacrifice one. Asterisk camera asterisk medium close-up on the remaining family's faces, showing terror and grief. Hashtag scene 6. Final cliffhanger / resolution. 7:30 to 8:30. Frame 1 asterisk. Asterisk visual asterisk wide shot of the town streets at night. Quiet and seemingly normal. Asterisk camera asterisk slow tracking shot past empty streets and houses. Asterisk notes asterisk build a false sense of calm. Frame 2 asterisk. Asterisk visual asterisk close up of a window in a distant house. Subtle flicker of a shadow in the corner, almost imperceptible. Asterisk camera asterisk slow zoom in to focus on the flicker, holding tension. Asterisk sound asterisk faint whisper. You're next. Frame 3 asterisk. Asterisk visual asterisk camera pans past the empty street. Shadows subtly moving in peripheral corners. Asterisk camera asterisk tracking shot with slight handheld shake to simulate unease. Asterisk sound asterisk low sustained hum fades into silence. Frame 4 asterisk. Asterisk visual asterisk final frame fades to black, leaving only the lingering sound of faint, distorted whisper. Asterisk notes asterisk this ending leave the audience with a lingering sense of dread, perfect for a sequel or for now ending. Hashtag pacing notes for ending. Asterisk gradually slow down camera movements after the ritual climax to give viewers a moment to breathe. Asterisk use silence strategically after the burst of light to maximize emotional impact. Asterisk keep shadow hints subtle in the final shots to maintain suspense without revealing too much. Asterisk the final whisper ties the story together and leaves viewers unsettled, ensuring engagement until the very end. At this stage, the story is fully ready for cinematic production. We've slowly moved toward the ending, preserving suspense, horror, and emotional beats while leaving the shadows threat lingering for future stories. Absolutely. Here's a graceful cinematic ending episode for The Shadow Without a Body, designed to provide closure while keeping the lingering tension alive. Hashtag YouTube script. The Shadow Without a Body final episode / ending. /hook / continuation. Some shadows never leave. They don't fade. They wait. But sometimes you have to face them. /edit. After years of torment, the Johnson family returned to the ruins of the old orphanage one last time. The ritual had worked partially, but they still felt its presence. The town had returned to quiet, but shadows lingered at the edges of perception, always watching, always learning. /build up. The surviving family members walked through the empty streets, every corner and window a potential threat. No more swirling shadows inside the house. No sudden cold drafts. Just silence. It was as if the shadow was biding its time, waiting to see if fear had truly been vanquished. They visited the town library and uncovered more journals from the old orphanage. Ancient warnings. Rituals never completed. The shadow had been bound before, but never destroyed. /climax. At the ruins, the family lit a single candle in memory of the one lost to the shadow. They spoke their goodbyes, accepting what had happened. For the first time, the air felt calm. No whispers. No flickers. No handprints. It seemed the shadow had finally retreated, for now. /resolution / graceful ending. The Johnsons moved away, leaving the house behind. Life returned to a fragile normal. The town healed. But every so often at night, when the wind moves just right, a shadow drifts across the walls. A fleeting flicker in the corner of your eye. A reminder, darkness can wait patiently. It can learn, watch, and return when least expected. The story of the shadow without a body ends here, for now. The house is quiet. The town sleeps. But the memory of fear lingers, a shadow on the edge of every mind. /final shot / fade out. Asterisk camera pans over the abandoned house at dusk. Asterisk subtle shadow moves across the wall, barely noticeable. Asterisk fade to black. Asterisk whisper. It's still out there. This ending. Asterisk provides closure to the Johnson family story. Asterisk leaves the shadow as a lingering, ominous presence. Asterisk maintains the eerie cinematic tone while not over-explaining.